Welcome to Magic Memories Birr GAA Club Through the Lens, produced in conjunction with the book of the same title to mark the centenary of the first senior hurling county title secured by Birr GAA Club in 1912. The first period of success was initiated with the arrival of the unifying figure, Father Michael Crowe. He arrived as chaplain to Birr Workhouse in 1911 and was a noted organiser and motivator. The first title was secured following a replay against Killahee. Further titles were secured in 1913 and 1915. Birr were not to savour county senior title success again until 1938. During this period, one of the most significant developments was the opening of St Brendan's Park, Birr, the home of Birr Hurling Club and the spiritual home of Offaly Hurling. The greatest influence and driving force behind this development was Sean Robbins, a noted hurler himself, captaining Offaly to a Leinster junior hurling title. He was to become the club's most significant administrator, becoming chairman of both the Offaly County Board and the Leinster Council. He also refereed the 1931 All-Ireland Senior Hurling Final and the first replay between Cork and Kilkenny. When the men of Birr took to the field in the senior hurling final in O'Connor Park on the 22nd of August 1948, they had a point to prove. Their opponents, Coolderry, had defeated them the previous year. This time there would be no defeat, but instead an emphatic victory. It was their sixth such victory in 11 years, and their ninth overall. Who could foretell that it would have to sustain them for another 23 years? Sadly, there are only two surviving members of that time still with us to tell the tale: Christy Walsh and Johnny Hogan.
You done what he told you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you hit the ball in the road, you hit it in the road. You raise it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the type of he was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, training hard, like, you know, for up and down.
And the age, what age were you then?
21.
21.
Yeah.
What age were you, Christy?
I was 18 when I went,
18?
when I went to senior,
In,
and Joe Dooley, brilliant trainer. Anybody, only Joe himself, really.
Yeah. Sure, Sean Robbins. He was the
Sean
chairman.
Robbins.
Yeah.
Background, yeah.
Very Harley, doing that. He was treasurer at the
and we
time.
have
So they were meeting Coolderry in the final then.
In Town.
in Tullamore.
See,
Yeah.
they had Coolderry had the row with Birr. They wouldn't even talk open Birr. They play in Birr, but not in Birr.
Oh yeah. In,
Yeah, in Birr. They play other teams, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as far as they know, they talked up in Ballyacre School. You know what I mean?
drove by the field and then went on to Durham.
Yeah.
Ah.
But and they were always a hard team to beat, so very close hurlers. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I remember Wager Party,
Yeah.
he won. Yeah, tough man. He had full forward.
Jim
Once he
Dooley.
got the ball in his hand, he'd get through. Very, very strong man.
Jim Dooley Coolderry said about Party. Hit Party one, they get two back.
I would, yeah. You would.
See, they only had the bare teams. They didn't have 24, 25 like now, you know. They had to do with 20, that, you know. That was
I
the
had
rule.
3 subs.
Yeah.
3 subs and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, we'd hurled.
We'd go down training nearly every night.
You would. And Sunday morning was a great thing, after 10 o'clock.
After
mass.
10 o'clock.
Do an hour before dinner, you know, yeah. It was a good crowd, like, down for that, you know.
Now, would you also play your own hurleys or?
Well, we had to price them.
The guy with Brian used to make them.
Like yours as well.
Mm.
Yeah. No cup for the presentation.
Yeah. We got our medals. This is here.
Yeah.
Egan's Hotel. Father Maloney, the rest of them around it. We weren't even offered a bottle of lemonade. No.
Exactly.
No, yeah.
Huh?
There's no midfield like now, or you know, of course the money maybe wasn't there either. You know. Clubs are poor, like you know, as
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
down. You know, they had old hairy jerseys there, didn't they? Got the other one though. Hairy jerseys, they know they beat you, they never really got them.
Yeah.
And there was some great individual hurlers at the time, you know.
Yeah.
No.
But Nevin was a good character on the team as well.
That's
so
right.
Yeah.
We call him the Snipe,
Yeah.
you know. A great hurler. They made up a song about it after.
Did they?
Actually, yeah.
About who the...
Yeah, match.
48.
Did they?
I did.
Come gather round, ye boys and girls, and listen to me a while. The facts I try to tell to you.
To me a while. The facts I'll try to tell you are surely worth your while. It happened on a stormy day in 1948, when over in O'Connor Park, Coolderry met their fate. The national anthem sounded and the players took their stand, and from the throwing of the ball, Birr took the upper hand. Just a second from the opening, Des Dooley had a score, and this urged on the boys from Birr to go in search of more. 2 points from Billy Nevin of club and county fame, 2 goals by Wicks and Pardy, who had shone throughout the game. Just
The
before half-time,
final
Birr slackened to let
thrilling
Coolderry
sounded.
score. A fluky goal,
The game
a
was
point, but they
still
could get
all.
no more.
And every Birr man on the pitch gave her into one great roar.
And I always remember that day when the parade, we go around the parade. The rain came down like crazy, you know, it's going to spite everywhere. They cleared up then again, but Birr had to win in the first half, and they scored 2 goals and 3 points to win. Coolderry, I think they had 3 or 4 points, but anyway, Birr scored as much again to win in the second half as they did in the first half. You know, the 4-6 I remember well, and Coolderry was 2-3 or something like that. I think what made it so famous was they were the first team to beat Coolderry so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There wouldn't be 12 points. Like.
Was Portugal?
As far as I can reckon, like 11 of us came off and had a war 48 in one
The
car.
one car.
Jackie Blake was driving it. See, all the rest were gone. Well, we said hanging around. We weren't drinking or anything, yeah, but when it come to go home, half the team were nearly there. We had to go home.
And Paddy could ride fish shop
Let's say.
in Connacht Street after training at night.
Say.
Bag of chips, 2p.
Yeah. Was there of course the brothers that time, the presentation brothers that time would be looking after the underage hurling.
They were.
Yeah,
There
they
was Brother Wilford there, no.
Brother Wilford,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
But they had that minor team, Nevin,
That's right, yeah.
I called the Wilford Magpies.
That's right,
I
yeah.
had the black and white jersey.
That's the ones there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right,
there.
Yeah.
In the early 50s, I think. Remember Brother Niles hurling?
Who was there?
You heard for Gordon in
Niles.
50, mid-50s, himself and brother Neary.
I know who were the other man. I didn't know Brother Niles.
Brother Niles did, yeah. Well, that was great chatting you.
Right, right away.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Who do we send the bill?
Give me the Gary here.
Following the success of 1948, Birr would not regain the county senior hurling title again until 1971. In the intervening years, Sean Robbins died, and in the 1960s, the Sean Robbins Cup was presented for the first time to the captain of the senior hurling champions. Since its first presentation, 12 Birr captains have had the honour of lifting the Sean Robbins Cup. On November 27, 1971, in St Brendan's Park, Birr were pitted against a 4 in a row seeking St Rina's side. In a pulsating final played in poor conditions, the game was decided with the last puck of the ball, when team captain Declan Hennessy buried a 21-yard free to the back of a crowded St. Rina's net, and so becoming the first Birr man to lift the Sean Robbins Cup. Let's listen in on the magic memories of Declan and fellow team member Declan Hannafy.
You know, they were talking about their centre fields that time, and Des Dillon, which I never seen Des Dillon play hurling, nor Des Dooley, but I saw Des Dillon playing handball. He used to play along with Mick Keneally and Paddy Murray and them. But no, we grew up that the thought that Birr would never win 6 in 10 years again. You know what I mean? Absolutely. As I said, we were lucky enough to play in the three. With a slight bit of luck, we could have won the three, but a little bit of luck, we could have won 2 of them. You know what I mean? And probably lucky to win the one we won. And that's the way hurling was. It was that close, you know. But as Dick says, Banner was always that little bit better.
Ahead of us.
They were, yeah.
Yeah, well, the 48 team then, they were, my father was on the 48 team, and that generation, they were that level beyond us.
You see, Declan would probably agree with me. What happened to the senior team, we'll say in the 60s, in the mid-60s, where the first man to go was Peter Lucknan. And Peter went, and then after that we lost 3 Vernies. We lost Des Keneally. We lost Mick Dewan. We lost Kevin Lucknan.
All-time migration.
And they were all prospective county players.
Yeah.
All of them.
Every one of them, yeah. And it was an awful loss to Birr at that time. I remember I went to England in 69. I came home in 71, and I was talking to Father Vaughan, and he was asking me what was I doing, and I told him what I was doing. I was working for a brother of mine over there driving machinery and lorries. And he said, would you not come back and play with Birr? And I said, I would if I got a job. And so he said, he came back to me about a week later. He says, listen, there's a job going in CIE, lorry driver's job going in CIE, and why don't you give it a lash? And he was telling me about this new show that's coming to Birr, Father Carey, and if we can get him involved, it'd be mighty, you know. So I went into the test and got the job, and sure, met Father Carey, and I knew there was something different about 71 then. He brought us all together, and you couldn't go up or down the main street, but he'd be burping the horn and get you into the car, and he used to smoke a pipe, and there was a spring in the middle of the pipe, and I remember the smell of the lovely tobacco, and he was all the time. He had everybody. He had even not alone the hurlers, but their families interested in hurling that year. Yeah.
He created great atmosphere. There was a great atmosphere throughout that year, and we organised a lot of practice matches, much more than we ever played before. Right, yeah. We had a practice match every week, so our training was largely playing games. So by the time we got to championship, we were sort of match fit, and we were winning all the practice matches, and we just continued winning throughout the year.
I remember well. Damien came out and picked the ball after me. I was going out, and Damien was in front of me, and he bent down and he picked the ball, and John Maloney didn't see him do it, but the umpire did, and it was the umpire that won the match for us, really. And he called in John Maloney, and so John Maloney came in and awarded a free. It wasn't a penalty, no, it was a free. And I remember Son Rafter ran in with a ball to me, and he took it out under his shirt and he handed me a dry ball. And I said, that's grand, but he forgot to take the wet ball. So I remember pawing or footing, if you like, trying to get the ball behind me to put down the dry one to hit it. And Damien copped it again, of course, and he ran out and he let fly and dropped a dry ball out over the well side. And there was a bit of a commotion then, and I thought for a minute that the ref was going to throw in the ball, I didn't know what way I was going to go, and next thing he told me that you'll have to hit it with the ball that was in play. So.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history, yeah. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable now, and there was people crying. I remember Jimmy Carroll at Connacht Street, and Jimmy came over to me, and you could see the tears coming down his eyes. And Jimmy had actually won the six medals with Birr from 38 to 48, and it was unbelievable.
That team was a good team, and we were always competing. And in '75, we drew a final and lost the replay. And was it with the final we lost in '74 as well?
The final in '74 as well, yeah.
So it was a good team, but we just that little bit short of Rhinos.
But as regards club, I mean, they owned it awfully hurling for 12, 14 years.
That Banner team, Barney Moylan, with Damien, of course, Padjo, Wheelahan, Basil Johnson. We had a good few battles with Basil.
Yeah.
Podge Mulhare, of course.
And Joe Dooley, he was...
Oh, Joe
Yourself
Dooley,
and Joe used to have it for years there. Yeah.
Yes, we had what you'd call battles.
But the both teams knew one another so well. Like we knew one another since we were minors, and we played in every championship. I think every championship I nearly won it against Banner, you know.
We had great fun. Great fun. That was the time when we go to play a practice match down in Moneygall or Kilrowan, and we wouldn't come home immediately after.
There was great camaraderie, great friendship.
Yes, great friendship. I think the whole thing changed in the early 60s with Brother Dennis arriving. He changed our outlook as to what our expectations were or should be. Maybe should be, as I think from. But and after that, the training was different, and our horizons were certainly risen a good bit, and he brought the Offaly from way down up to competitive with every team in the country, and each club then improved as well. And add to that, then Brother Vincent was producing them one after the other in the national school, and those teams then started to win at underage levels, and from there on it was just a roller coaster. That board team, every day you had a different fella starring. The man of the match was, any of them could be the man of the match, and it changed regularly. The fella that you'd least expect to be the man of the match could be the next day. And one great game after another, you know, playing the Leinster Championship and then playing the All-Ireland Series, but we had a great time. Yes, I remember Sean Robbins very well. He was an elderly gentleman when I was a toddler, but I do remember him, and he always came across to me as being a very nice man. Now, I didn't know him other than he was an old man and I was a youngster, and he was involved with the GAA. I think he was the chairman of the county board, if I'm subject to correction, but I think he was the chairman of the county board, and he was always involved down around the pitch at the time. But he died when I was a youngster.
Yeah, it was the same with me. I can just remember him coming in around the field. I remember he used to wear a soft hat, and he was an elderly gentleman, and as Dick was saying, I can't remember any particular conversation I had with him now, but I know that we all held him in high esteem anyway. He was a lovely man, really.
Two Birr Club members who have nigh on 100 years' service to the club between them recount their experiences of life in the club in the 1960s and 70s.
I remember in the 71, when we were having the celebrations, we had a contact with the 1912 team that first won the club championship. Decady Sharkey. And it was Decady Sharkey. Peter King had a connection with the 48 team.
The 48 team.
And Declan with the 71. The three of them had their hands on the cup at the one function. So the gap, it was there the whole time up along. We were in hard luck in the 50s, after 48, Drumcullen's beat us in 51, wasn't it? Joe Dooley's sideline poke. Put over the bar and that won that for them.
I was kind of talked into it, like, you know, I called into a meeting, like, and Brother Dennis said, like, that he'd be doing all the work, that he just wanted someone to help him out, like, things like that. And I thought nothing of him. And I liked the GAA, I liked the whole, and that's why I said I had Chancellor for a few years. Naturally enough, the greatest memory was when we won the county final after 23 years, 71, like, you know. We were given no hope that year, like, the Rhinos were the team. And, but we were quite confident that we could do it, like.
I suppose, like all the rest of the board lads, heart was in her mouth at the time. He wanted that. You didn't see nothing until the back of the net shook and the water came off the back of the net, and that was it. You know, you had it run then.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even lads just erupted, and
you couldn't even see the ball going in for so dark, like, no.
But
to tell you how dedicated they were now. Now Tom O'Shea, Kilkenny man now, playing. Now Tom, if he wanted, he could drink any device under the counter. Everyone knows that. He gave up the drink for a month to win that county final. He handed me the keys to his car that day, going into the match. Hold on to him, he says. I'll let you know when I want him. He didn't come back from for a week afterwards.
So there was great excitement after.
Oh, what's that?
we were lucky that Father Carey came on the scene. Father Carey was a curate in late Father Carey. He was a curate in Roscrea, and he was transferred to Birr. He got in with Son Rafter, and the father were two selectors along with himself, and he was managing it, and he got us, gelled us together and held on to us. And Ken came to me then, and I was kind of down the dumps, and he said to me, I want you as a selector. And I says, oh, Ken, I don't think so. Yes, you can, he said. So I went on board with him then, and he says to me, I says to him, who's the other selector? And he said to me, I'm going down for Brother Vincent. So we went to the monastery for Brother Vincent. And Brother Vincent says, lads, I can't do it, and I'd love to do it. He says, but I can't tell you. He says, you know later on. And I says to him then, I says, hey, brother, who would you recommend to do the job? And he said to me, next stop, he says, Padge's. Remember the first time we against Buffer's Alley and Tony Doran?
Yeah.
Tony Doran was playing.
Two Doran, Tony and...
Yeah. But, and Dottie got put off. Yeah. We hadn't Dottie for the final against Shamrocks. Yeah.
Regan, yeah.
So we had a man picked all right, but we weren't saying that until he got at the warm-up and just tell him he was playing then. Because if we let him know before that, he would have been got to him and people would have been clapping him on the back. And so Ray Landy went in and Ray Landy turned the game on his head. And it was the only time that a Birr team ever beat Shamrocks in a Leinster final. Winning the minor All-Ireland in 86, beating Cork. You know, I'm beating Northmon in the college's A final.
Yeah.
You know, I'm been in the A final the year before with Flannans. The Flannans beating us in 85.
It started with Brother Vince in the national school, and they moved on to the secondary school then, and Brother Dennis was there and all them, and they kept bringing them on.
Oric Horn was there.